Whoops. Hold on. There we are. Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Matt.
I'm Andy.
And this is episode 40 of the Infinity Flux letters page. This is our bi-weekly, although I think we are going to take this weekly, but this is our weekly show, or soon-to-be weekly show, live show where we can talk with you guys, interact with you guys, and I did not put this on TikTok either, so let me work on that
What you
too.
doing?
I don't know, man. It's been a rough several days at work, and I am completely out of the loop here. So let me do this real quick.
Well, like you said, this is our show where it's kind of like hanging out with your friends at the comic book store.
That's
New
right.
comic book release day was today. Some really cool stuff came out. Also, your mic is in camera.
I know, but I get the shadow if it's
Sloppy.
I know.
Uh, but some great stuff came out this week. We just shot a video talking about the brand new Daredevil #1 blind bags. So we went over kind of what the blind bags feel like, what they look like, all of that. We didn't show any of the interior. We didn't review the book or do anything like that. We're just kind of showing you, if you are getting the blind bags, what to expect. So that was really cool.
Yeah.
Marvel sent us a few of them to look at. Those release on April 1st. But check out that video. And wait until you can talk about your pick of the week.
Yeah, well, you talk about your pick of the week.
I'm gonna start.
You don't have to wait on me.
It was way too big of a week for me. I did
What's up,
not
Frag
know
Monkey?
it was gonna be this big. Like, I got tons of trades this week. Like, I got Lobo back to back trade paperback. That's brand new. Finally got in this Ghost Pepper, but with the Joe Moderia cover for that. I got volume 2 of the new Amazing Spider-Man. I'm not buying the single issue, so I got that.
Oh, okay.
But I did buy. I mean,
Oh, I see a big hardcover. Oh,
it's a big SpongeBob
Yeah.
hardcover. This is SpongeBob: The Art of the Undersea World. I picked that up this week. Actually, I had pre-ordered that. That's all gonna get out of the way so I can get to my single issues. And this is a hard week because I really liked Batman. Batman
Yep.
was great. I got the Daniel Warren Johnson cover for DCKO #5, so that also. Uh, am probably gonna say that my pick of the week is. It sounds too easy to say it's DCKO #5, but it's between that and Batman. DCKO because it is big, it's over the top and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, you almost couldn't have two further DC comics because Batman was, no action, but a lot of like interesting dialogue, and then you had DCKO #5, which was so much action and all of that. Which I would say I probably got more out of DCKO, but I equally enjoyed them.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's the easy answer, but DCKO #5 is definitely my pick of the week. I mean, there's no, I don't try to shy away from the easy stuff. I'll just, whatever I like the best, I like. But Batman #7 was my #2 pick of the week. I don't know what #3 was though. I think maybe my #3 pick. I'd have to go back and look at my Comic Geeks rankings, but I think maybe my #3 pick is not one that I bought. I think maybe I didn't, whatever it was, I didn't actually buy the single issue of it.
I got Nectar, and I would think Nectar.
Did you buy Nectar?
I did. Yeah, I had pre-ordered the black bag one, so I can't show the black bag because I opened it. But it is. I really liked Nectar.
Yeah.
Which it's hard, to talk about because we sold out of them. Everyone sold out of them really fast, so I feel bad for those who didn't get to get it. But they should be doing a second printing, and I recommend when they do the second printing, pre-order that because it's really good.
Yeah. I think maybe I liked Nectar just fine. I think maybe I liked Narco from Image a little bit
See,
better.
I didn't read that.
I thought it was fun. Again, it's just like Nectar. It wasn't overly complicated. It was a fairly simple, mostly subdued story. There wasn't a lot of big, ostentatious things that happened in it. But I really like the story. I like the mystery. I like the characters in it. It really, just like Nectar, it made me want to go back, like hurry up and get the second issue.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, there's a mystery. And over on Nectar, it's like, oh my gosh, there's things are going to get worse for these people. So yeah, I want to see all that stuff. So yeah, a good week for some indie books. Last issue of Beneath the Trees
Yeah.
came out. That was phenomenal.
And while we're doing this, our live thing is still kind of goofed up,
Oh,
so we
right,
can't
right,
put the
yeah,
comments on the screen.
yeah.
But if you want to comment or ask a question, whatever, you can still do that. We can still see it. If you're on YouTube or TikTok or wherever, we can still respond to it. We just can't post it up there just
Yeah,
yet.
our StreamYard's still a bit jacked up. I got to reach out to them. So yeah, we're doing this old school streaming through regular streaming
Like the
software.
pioneers did.
Yeah. Frag Monkey, have you seen that Marvel Team Up number 14 Facsimile Edition isn't an actual facsimile? Right. They
Yes.
changed some stuff. It's like an Amazon. Oh, that is like an Amazon ad. That's right. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
They changed some of the dialogue on the
Oh, did
inside.
they change the
Yeah,
dialogue?
because there's a page that references
I've
uh
got it right here.
yeah, there's a page that references in the original references like going to Blockbuster or something like that, and they changed it to we're gonna watch Reacher on Amazon Prime or something like that.
That's weird.
It's I want to say I think it's Mary Jane and Aunt May or yeah, movie night. Remember, there's a new Will Ferrell movie on Amazon Prime. Originally, that said something like there's a new movie out at Blockbuster or something like that.
Okay, because
And then
yeah,
this is different too.
yeah, because those things did not exist when this book came
That's
out.
right. Yeah.
Why do you think you would do that?
I don't know. I mean, I don't need my books to. I recognize that these books come out in the past. I don't need my books to always match the current time frame.
Yeah, that is really weird. That's funny because I didn't read the book because I've read it before. I got three different covers of it, but now that does kind of make it a different edition of it.
Yeah.
But I do agree that it is a little frustrating that it's not an actual. I noticed because we had talked about, oh, it's a facsimile. Even I think it's even listed as a facsimile. But I mean, the back of it, you've got the ad for the game
Yeah.
and Invincible, which were not there originally. So that immediately makes it not that. But to change
I just
the
view it more, I guess, as just a regular reprint, right? Like a second printing or a third printing or whatever. Because new printings aren't necessarily facsimiles.
right,
Like
yeah,
all those new printings of the absolute books we have out there, like those aren't facsimiles of the original one. They have different ads and stuff. I think, but yeah, change dialogue, change colors, speech bubbles, and font. I did notice there was a comparison, and the colors don't look as good. I think, or maybe they look. One of them, the colors looked worse. I don't remember which one.
yeah. I mean, hopefully that's not like an Amazon thing that they really pushed for them to do. But
Oh, I didn't think about that. Yeah,
um,
because Invincible's on
because
Amazon.
Invincible's on
Oh,
Amazon,
I bet it is. That's gross. I don't like that. That seems cheap and cheesy.
uh,
I would hate it if like, Amazing Fantasy 15 facsimile edition, but Peter's like on his smartphone when he's
yeah,
crossing the street to make him jump up when the car's about to hit him, and yeah, leave him alone. These things are fine that they come out in the past. They're time capsules, basically.
yeah. Yeah, that's really interesting. Maybe I would have um called it like a remastered or
Yeah,
something
something
if they
like
were
that.
gonna do some color tweaks and everything. What's funny is it's still got the thing in the back that's like next up all your favorite nobodies that has like Aranya and Sleepwalker and all of that. So it's like you chose to
Need
facsimile
that.
the ad for the next issue that's not going to come out.
Well, because this is Image publishing it, so it's weird to have a next issue advertisement for a Marvel book, but it was Marvel back then. Now it's Image, so yeah, I doubt Marvel would have changed it to push a rival streaming service. See, that's where I don't love all these corporations owning
Yeah.
all these, publishers or IPs and that kind of thing, because that's when you get meddling. That's when you get some like
Yeah.
corporate meddling, and I don't want that.
Yeah, because these are old letters page things talking about make sure you buy Marvel Zombies and Ultimate X-Men starting with issue 66 when they come out. That's when Kirkman took over Ultimate X-Men. Stuff about like be sure to be back here next month for the League of Losers. It's going to be a hoot and a half, I promise. But it's weird of like you're kind of playing both things in this.
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, so but at the same time, to play the other side of that coin, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't affect the story. It doesn't change the outcome of the story. It's a couple of panels, it's a couple of word balloons, so as weird as it feels, it's almost like, well, pick your battles.
Yeah.
Pick what you're gonna get mad about. I guess it's it doesn't really bother me. It feels gross, but I guess it doesn't really bother me all that much.
Yeah, yeah. I think the problem was that it was, I believe, originally called a facsimile, and that's just not what a facsimile is.
Yeah.
If it didn't have that, I think I would have been like, oh, okay, you tweak some stuff, whatever.
Well, yeah, and it's definitely not a facsimile because like you said, it has the new ads for the game and stuff like that. So no, I would think it's more just like a reprint.
Yeah, yeah. But I still got them. I got, of course, the Ryan Otley cover, which I love. I got a blank sketch cover, just because either I'll do something on it or I'll take it to a con. I'll maybe if someone in I'm gonna be at C2E2 in Chicago. Maybe someone will be there, and I want them to draw on it. I need to bring some blank sketch covers.
Wait, is this blank for you to get a sketch or for you
That's
to
what I was
do your
saying.
own sketch and sell
It
it?
could go either
Either
way.
way, yeah.
And then of course I got the Todd McFarlane one.
Yeah. The Todd Father, you got to have that. Pop Man reviews. What's your favorite ongoing series right now? Um Absolute Batman. It's that's the one that excites me, but like just narrowly above probably like the mainline Superman title. And Fantastic Four is way up there too.
I was
So,
gonna
but
say
also Batman is good too.
I think my number one is probably Superman,
Hmm.
but I really like Fantastic Four, and I do really Justice League Unlimited. I really like just because every issue is just like, what fun thing am I gonna see this
Yeah.
time?
Which cool characters am I gonna see? That
Yeah,
kind of thing.
but I really like Absolute Batman, but just I love this run of Superman so much.
Yeah.
Even the issues that aren't like, whoa, big things are happening.
Yeah.
And kind of doubling down on that, we read the upcoming issue of Superman already.
Yeah, number 36, which is the one where Superboy Prime takes over the starring role for a while.
One of my
And
favorite issues I've read this year.
this year so far, yeah, absolutely.
It is so much fun. It is the tone of it is so good.
Hmm.
It's so like, he does have a lot of like almost like Connor Kent Superboy
Yeah.
vibes. He's a little careless and all that, but just it's a delight.
Yeah. It's
Even
got some good action. The
yeah,
artwork is amazing. It's funny, not slapsticky funny, but like
it's a really witty.
yeah, witty. Yeah, that's a good. I mean, it's perfect. Like
Yeah,
there's nothing I wouldn't change about it, or nothing I would change about it.
yeah. So I think we are in for a really really fun next few months on Superman.
Yeah.
Even when you read the opening page, which I won't give away, but uh, the opening page kind of sets up, hey, here's what we're going to do for the next few months.
Yeah, and that makes me think about. I know we talk a lot about DC Comics, and we're people probably think we're paid or whatever to say this, but like I was thinking about, now that as of today, DCKO is over, and there's a lot of stuff coming after that. There's all the next level books, but then there's also new stories starting in the existing books like Superman and Batgirl and Poison Ivy and Batman and Aquaman and Green Lantern Corps and Green Lantern, like all that stuff, right? And I was thinking about how we've read a lot of that stuff already. We've already read Lobo and the first two issues of Batwoman. We've read Deathstroke. We've read the first three issues of Firestorm, Superman 36. We read Batgirl and Poison Ivy and Batman. And like out of everything I've read post DCKO is amazing.
Yeah.
Like there's not a bad apple in the bunch, at least from what we read so far, like from the stuff that's coming soon, to the stuff that's coming out like in April and things. Like they had a great event, and they're continuing that momentum and that great storytelling in these new books and these new stories that are coming afterwards. And that doesn't always happen.
Yeah.
A lot of time, like with Age of Revelation, that event ended, and now we're in the Shadows of Tomorrow era, and some of it's good, and some of it, is kind of so-so. But you had this event, and it's like, okay, the event's over. Now we're gonna get back to like quiet stories and stuff. But the DC stuff is not like that at all.
Yeah.
It's still like, wham bang, big action, big stories, big swings. So I mean, they're like the momentum is still there even after DCKO is over, and I think that's remarkable. And I really hope that everybody checks out all these new books, or at
Mhm.
least all the ones you can anyway, because they're really good. Somebody asked me, what on Twitter, I think, what my favorite of the four new next level books are that we read. Zatanna's out there too. We haven't read that yet, but and I was like, well, I don't know. It's like trying to pick your favorite out of four delicious pizzas. They're
Mhm.
all delicious. It's like I think Firestorm is probably my favorite, but you can't go wrong with any of them because they're all fantastic.
Yeah, I think what I think works so well too is they each have a very distinct voice and style.
Yeah,
So they may not all be for you, but they're definitely like you should be able to look at it and be like, that looks like something I would like.
yeah,
Batwoman is completely different than Lobo,
yep,
but they're both the quality of them is so high. They're so much fun in their own regards. Batwoman is pretty grim for the most part, but
yeah,
it's still a fun story.
yeah.
Um, yeah, I don't know. I really hope we get something similar with like Spider-Man or something. I would love a fresh like jumping on point of Spider-Man. It
For
doesn't have to
Spider
be a
Man,
number
yeah,
number one or something, but I would love that uh, you know, really distinctive voice
yeah.
on a book like that.
Well, I was listening to a podcast with Scott Snyder just the other day, and he was talking about how what they're trying to do with some of these new books is give you different like genres and different flavors. He said if you're really into magic and fantasy and those type of stories, Zatanna is the book for you, and that's the one we haven't got to read yet. If you want a summer action blockbuster John Wick style, then Deathstroke is that book. If you want like a zany like a space adventure book, there's Lobo. Like there's different flavors that you can pick and choose which ones you like the best. They don't all feel the same. It's not. I know there's several Batman books, but they're not all Batman, right?
Yeah.
And there's some mystical ones, and there's some adventure ones, and there's science ones.
You can easily say genres other than superhero
Oh
when you
yeah,
talk about them.
and whatever we don't know what it's gonna be like, but I can't imagine the Dead Man book
Yeah.
with the Ice Cream Man team, like that's gonna be like nothing else probably out there. And then you've got Vertigo on top of that, right?
Yeah.
So there's all kinds of stuff for you to read.
So you ask, which Shadows of Tomorrow story do you think has the most potential? We've only gotten the first issues of a lot of them
Yeah.
right now, like the new launch ones. Um, it's hard to say because X-Men continues to be good. I don't know what it really has to do with like Shadows of Tomorrow. We don't even really
I
know
don't know
what
what that
that
name means.
means.
Yeah.
Under the banner of all of those, I think X-Men is still kind of the best of
Yeah.
them. Um,
X-Men is my favorite of the X books, and it has been since the beginning.
and I kind of feel like
Yeah, it's the
it should
flagship.
maybe
Yeah.
have the most care and
Yeah.
attention put into it. I'm glad for that.
Yeah, but I think the story that they're telling, that's the one I think that if there's any ramification from Age of Revelation, it's going to be in that book with 3K and the chairman, who he turned out to be, and maybe they're going to try to launch the mutant virus instead of so like there's still lingering Age of Revelation stuff in the X Men book that I find wildly interesting. And then Wolverine has been just like a
Yeah.
fun, like just a plain Jane Wolverine book. Nothing, it's not setting the world on fire. It's not trying to be this big epic story. It's just Wolverine in the wilderness with Silver Sable training new mutants and fighting Department H. And it's
Yeah.
simple.
Which one has the most potential? I think they all have potential, but I think, the most like bottled up potential, of course, is X-Men. It has the
Yeah.
kind of the most stuff to work with. Um, Wolverine, like you said, I think is one of just the more fun ones. And the most like accessible ones,
Yeah.
as it doesn't really tie in with any of the other stuff. And then I don't know, Uncanny has been pretty good for the last couple of issues.
Hmm.
I'm not sure like the big story they're telling, but the stuff with the monsters I think is pretty
Yeah.
cool. I don't know, like Inglorious X Force. I really liked the first issue. I was a little bit less enthusiastic about the second one, um, but I'm interested where they're going with some of it. Uh, I don't know. We've only gotten the first of Generation X 23. What was
Yeah,
it
that
called?
one. I mean, that one was. Once you start getting into the, well, I don't know. Y- because there's Generation X 23, but there's also the miniseries like uh, Moonstar and shoot, I'm blanking on some of the other ones. But
A Cyclops.
oh yeah, oh yeah, that's right. Which that should be. I think that's going to be pretty good too. But yeah, I think potential wise, X-Men, and I think X-Men kind of gets an unfair rap a little bit because some of the other X-Men books are kind of average, and I feel like everybody thinks, oh, the X books are average. Well, no, go read X-Men.
Yeah.
Go see how awesome Cyclops is. Go see how much action is in every issue of X-Men, and the situations they get themselves in, and how well they work together as a team, and that kind of thing. I don't love Uncanny X-Men as much because a lot of the focus is on the outliers, the new kids, and I don't really care about them as much. But over in like mainline X-Men, no, you should be reading that because
Yeah.
that
It's
feels
all
like
about
a,
Cyclops and Beast
yeah,
and
and Psylocke and
Cy-
Magic and Juggernaut together are great.
Magneto.
Magneto, yeah,
Yeah, so yeah, I would say X-Men, which feels like the easiest answer out of all the X-Men things. Which one?
yeah, X-Men,
X-Men.
yeah.
But I think that one is really good.
I mean, it would be bad if like the best X-Men book were some random miniseries and not like the main flagship X-Men book, right? So I'm glad that that's not the
Like
case.
a Leech miniseries or something. Or
Like because we do have some of the classic Morlocks in the Wolverine series, and
would we have any of the classic Morlocks, or are they mostly the new Morlock?
there's a couple of them. Ape, the guy with the big
Oh
hands,
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
I think there's another one too.
So much of my Morlocks knowledge comes from the animated show because that's an early
Yeah,
story
yeah,
arc with the Morlocks, and they kind of condense them down to like the core ones,
yeah,
like Leech, like Callista,
yeah.
like those. I know better than any of them, but
And yes, Uncanny X-Men has Rogue, Gambit, Wolverine, Nightcrawler, whoever those characters are. Yes, but before Age of Revelation, Uncanny X-Men, that's why I got that. That's why I used to be so frustrated with it. Is that that book has those characters, but they're pushed to the background, and most of the focus is on the new kids. And it's like you can see the main X Men like back in the background. It's like, no, I want those guys back there.
yeah.
But instead, you're making me like these new kids that I don't really care that much about. Now, since Age of Revelation, it feels like it's been switched a little
Yeah,
bit.
it has a better balance. It's kind of a 50-50 in the
Mm-hmm.
book. We've had the kids overhearing the story that's being told, the kind of the Old West story, and then you have the rest of the X-Men dealing with the stuff going on outside of the
Yeah,
farm. But like the issue where like Nightcrawler like pops out there with a sword and stuff, I was
yeah,
like,
that
that's
was great.
awesome.
Yeah.
So I really like that. Um,
What's up, Vixen on TikTok? How you doing?
yeah, but they've got some good stuff going on.
Popman Reviews, have a good one, man. Thanks for hanging out. Comic Con on TikTok says, you guys know what's going on with these random books blowing up. Nectar sold out. Man, I don't know. We were talking about that earlier because didn't you say at Open today there was a line?
Yeah, there was a
I mean, a
line.
small, not a
Yeah,
crazy
yeah.
line, but
It was
there were people waiting.
people waiting outside, which would be great if that was true every new comic book day.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's not. Usually, we have a couple of people right when we open, but it kind of more towards like an hour or so in, like when people get on their lunch breaks. But I've heard a lot of speculation what's causing it or whatever. People, for one, they just like betting on books. They like
Yeah.
um my hope would be they all are getting them because they want to read them. I don't necessarily think that is, but I do think maybe Absolute Batman has brought some speculators back into the fold where maybe they had lessened for a little while and now they're trying to grab different ones.
Maybe, but why would that? But how would Absolute Batman drive speculators to indie books? You would
I
think they'd
don't
be
know.
like snatching up like the Matt Fraction Batman #1 or all these new next level #1s that are coming. Like you think they'd focus on those books, but no, it's like it's image books and Vault and that kind of thing.
Uh, People see number one,
I
um,
guess.
and historically, indie books do have higher value than modern day
Hmm.
um superhero books.
By the way, Gorgram, I love your comment. If it isn't the two of the best comic enthusiasts I ever saw, I wish our StreamYard were working so I could click that and pop it up on the screen and leave it there the
And
whole
leave it
time.
there.
Thank you for the kind words. Appreciate it.
Uh, yeah. So what's causing it? I don't really know. That's it could be a bunch of factors, but I do say this is, that's one of the reasons why we started these shows is not only to talk about like what's coming up, but to encourage you to pre-order. And
Yeah.
I know it's hard because you don't know what's going to be hot. I don't know what's going to be hot, especially when I'm placing the orders.
Yeah.
I know what sounds good. I know what our early orders are for those, but anything could become that next hit thing.
Well, and that's a good PSA for people who might you might actually be a speculator trying to get some of these hot indie books right now and are a little bit frustrated if your shop sells out really quickly. Is that Andy is the one who actually submits orders
Mhm.
for the books that we get, and it's these days it's hard to know. Like, how were we supposed to know that Nectar #1 was going to blow up? How are we supposed to know that
or
Narco number
or
one
the
was going to be big? Like,
hippopotamus
the cocaine hippopotamus thing.
massacre.
There's no indication. Like something like a brand new Batman. Oh my gosh, that's big. But there's no way of knowing that. Oh yeah, this random indie book is going to be huge. There's just no indication of that.
No, and we place our orders, you have to do it so far in advance. It's before a lot of people are even talking about these books. We talk about them on the show, so we kind of get the word out there,
Yeah.
so you are at least familiar with the name of them, or you're like, oh, that sounds interesting. Hopefully, then you go and pre-order them. I know it is kind of it's easy sometimes to miss FOC dates.
Yeah.
That's why, like on our website, I've gotten a habit of I just go to the final order cutoff page, shows all the stuff that's up for this week, and I go through each page. I'm like, oh, I'll try that one out or
Yeah.
whatever. That's what I did with Nectar this week. I pre-ordered it because I thought, oh, that sounds cool. Um, but yeah, if I could, I don't want anything to sell out. I wish we had enough for everybody.
Yeah.
But there's only certain numbers I can put in before it starts feeling outrageous.
The only thing I would say to that, and Grizzlebees, hi guys, best part of the week. You bought the mask ash can today. Did you buy it from us? We got one of those.
Mm.
Did you buy, or maybe you got it from another store? But I wanted to look through that, and it got sold and shipped out before I could. But I can't wait for the new mask series. But the only thing I would rebuttal to you don't want anything to sell out is I do like when things sell out and then go to second print because then it's like wow, this is popular. People are enjoying this. That it gets, there's articles written about it and that kind of thing. It puts a little bit more, put a little bit more of a spotlight on things. So I do kind of like it in that regard. But I don't. I do want everybody to be able to get the story that they want, even if it's not maybe the printing or the cover or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah. As long as they're okay. I know some people are kind of sticklers, like I wanted a first print, but if you are truly there for the story, you know, then that's when those work out. Like the question, what do you think will be the next hype comic? It's going to be the one that no one pre-orders, and that's why it's going to be hype because
Yeah.
it's going to have a low print run. Um,
So we just recorded our top 10 comics to pre-order in a flash video where we talk about 10 of the biggest books you can pre-order this upcoming weekend. And of course, our bigger show is on Friday where we go over more. But in that show, there's a new Image #1 called Royals, and there's another Image one-shot called Kilroy is here. I'm not don't look at me to speculate on what's going to be hot or not, but if I'm looking at current trends, it's like, well, that is the next, those are two indie #1s that are coming out soon. So who knows? Maybe they will, maybe they won't. I don't want to say one way or the other. I don't want to be the one responsible for like, oh my gosh, I drove yeah, Comic Con. We do have YouTube on it's Infinity Flux. If you just search that up on YouTube, you'll see like the logo
you'll see
back here.
basically this.
Yeah, you'll see like two nerds sitting in front of this thing right here. But yeah, we're live on YouTube over here right
And
now.
I do really like your question. What do you think about loyalty to your LCS? Is it best to have multiple options or support your local? I would say, of course, because I work at a LCS and I'm, you know, I won't go to another like if I'm out of town, I'll go to another store
Yeah.
because I like checking out other stores. I think it's really important to support your local comic book store. Now, if your local comic book store is not good, I mean, I or they're rude or they don't order what you need, go where you need
Yeah.
to order your stuff. But if you do like your store, you like the people who work there, it does mean a lot when you shop with them because our margins for stuff are not crazy. Every little bit helps, and if it's something that you enjoy and you like spending time there or you like talking to the people there, support that store. If they do pre-orders like we do pre-orders, you shouldn't miss out on too much stuff. Also, if you have a good, uh, uh, feeling about them and you like talking to them, ask them, what should I pre-order, that kind of thing. That's kind of the relationship.
Yeah.
Um, it's a lot of, I don't know. It's a lot like I always think of a comic book store is closer to like your local bar where
Yeah.
you just are comfortable and you like to hang
Yeah.
out there more than any other kind of store. You don't hang out at the grocery store and lean on the counter with your
Well,
friends.
you don't.
Well,
No.
uh, but yeah, so you say my shop is great, and I've actually become friends with the owner, but he often doesn't order indies. If you were good friends with him, maybe ask him to do that more if they're not the kind of store that maybe can support ordering a
Yeah.
ton of books. Maybe. Maybe like suggest some. You're like, hey, I think this one's gonna be really cool. Maybe order a couple of copies of that. Or if they're still not that, just say, well, I want that. So can you order it for me? Because you'd be like, I'll pay for it. It'll all be
I mean, I don't
fine.
know. I don't know that there are minimums to order for. Maybe
There
there
are
are.
no. The only minimums I've heard, and I don't know how true this is now. It could, but I heard like in Australia and some places like that
Mm.
that they might have minimums on their books because of shipping.
Because
But
it
for the
just.
most part, you can order at least, we can order a single book and it's fine.
Yeah, because it seems like if you're buddies with the shop owner, you say, "Hey, can you order me Nectar number one?" Obviously before
Yeah.
FOC. It seems like they wouldn't mind just like clicking hey, checking the box for one, and then so when they submit their orders, because especially a lot of the, I mean, it's almost everything comes from Lunar or Penguin, right? So if they're submitting their DC orders to Lunar, can they not just like add a copy of Nectar for you, or
Yeah.
whatever book you're wanting to pre-order?
Yeah, and if you are friends with the owner, talk to them about it, and
Yeah. I just usually find out about books after FOC. It's frustrating. Comic Con, if not to shamelessly plug, but if you want to hit us up on YouTube, like subscribe to our YouTube channel. Every single Friday, well, and Wednesday we post a short version, but on Friday we post like an hour, usually like an hour long video talking about a lot of the books that are on FOC that coming weekend. We show you all the variant covers and that kind of thing, so you could watch that video and then go to your store and say, I want to order this, this, and this. That
yeah.
that's the point of that video, is to say here's all, or not all, but here's most of the big books that are up for pre-order. Deadline is Sunday or Monday, that kind of thing. How's those tickets to Heroes Con coming along? I haven't got them yet,
The
but
printer jammed,
yeah.
so we'll see about that.
Yeah, I used Andy's credit card to order them, and it was declined for some reason. So
Yeah, it's because I bought that Art of SpongeBob
yeah.
book. It was expensive.
But yeah, I mean, I think it's cool to have loyalty to an LCS. But if you have multiple shops in your town, if the shop you normally go to doesn't have what you're looking for, yeah, go to the other one and see, because you could support them too.
Yeah.
What's up, Easy Reader, and what is up, Arrow GT7 on YouTube? Thanks for hanging out. And Grizzleby said he ordered from his local store, the mask. So I still got to find out who ordered that mask can and swipe it
You
back.
you find their address and you write it on yourself and you jump into the
Right,
mailbox. Like,
right,
I'm
yeah,
coming after
yeah.
you.
I'll be at
Uh,
MegaCon and here. Yeah, I think I really want to try to go to Heroes Con.
I want to go to Heroes as well. But if anyone's watching and you're going to be at C2E2 in Chicago in a couple of weeks, I'll be there and come by and see me, and I'll have stuff and art. I've got some new prints I got made,
Yeah.
and so that'll be really cool.
Um, but yeah, so yeah, store loyalty. Well, there's a couple other shops here in town. Obviously, I shop at this one and I pre-order everything, so I don't normally miss out on stuff. When I am in other towns, I do like to go into their shops too. It still feels weird though. I'm like, oh, I hope my shop doesn't find out that I'm in this shop. Like when I go to, is it Comics Unlimited in Cleveland, I
Yeah.
think. I hope they don't find out that I'm in here. But it's good to support whichever stores you can in whatever way you can.
Yeah, naturally you'll find one that fits you, and that's the one you'll lean towards and
Yeah.
you'll be comfortable at.
Arrow GT says I'm in digital only, but I come to Infinity Flux for many gifts for friends. That sounds good to me.
That's
Yeah.
still called supporting your local comic book store, and that's awesome.
Yeah, because I mean, we don't only sell comics. I mean, if anybody who hasn't been here before hasn't seen, I mean, comics is only we are a comic book store, full service comic book store, but we have everything else too: Magic cards and Pokemon and vinyl and video games and plushies and like everything. So yeah,
Yeah,
any support at all, it all goes to the same store. Yeah,
yeah. You only see when we talk about comics and stuff. This is just a
and buy the shirts too. Yeah, we have some good shirts.
uh, you're only seeing a portion of what our store is about because
Yeah,
we're now a decently long store with multiple rooms that are dedicated to different
yeah.
stuff, and we just talk about the comic book stuff. But we've got gaming and all of that.
Things that says your LCS can smell the dirty books on you from another store.
Yeah,
No, I have to like shower first and change clothes. And if I go to other shops, I feel bad and confess to Jason and Megan. Sometimes treat it like reconnaissance and let them know what I love or dislike about the other store. There you go. So Garrett, our buddy Garrett here on who's watching on YouTube, he's like if he goes behind enemy lines to let us know. And it's always fun like to pretend like there's a little bit of a rivalry. It's not there's not really, but it's always fun to be like, I'm not gonna go to that store. That's not my store. This is my
yeah.
but it's whatever. Support comic shops because every single one of them can you support from anyone.
I like going to shops, like I said, when I'm out of town or whatever, and I'll come back and be like, I really like the way they did this thing. Maybe
Yeah,
that's something we can implement. Rising tide, uh,
raises all ships,
uh,
something like that.
some sends rockets to the moon. I don't know, but yes, like you can get and it's fun. I talk to people about it at the store a lot. Comic book stores are one of the few kind of stores that can sell the same product but can sell it in different ways.
Mm,
Like all Targets are gonna have like the toy aisle and it's gonna have the peg with this and everything.
yeah,
But you can go to a comic book store and they can only do back issues, or they've got a little section of new releases, or maybe they're all new releases, and they have a certain way they do pull boxes and everything, and that's what's really cool is they all
yeah.
have an identity.
Cable line on YouTube says my wife and daughter have quite a considerable collection of Plague Doctors and Mothman plushies. We sell those.
Yeah, those are some hot plushies that people
Yeah.
people come after.
My sister, a lot of times she's like, hey, if Flux gets in the whatever Plague Doctor, will you get so I've bought some here for her before.
There's
Yeah.
a new one that's a goblin something plague doctor that's really cool, and it's like woodsy and stuff. I really like that one.
Yeah. Easy Reader says one of the LCS I go to expanded and remodeled, so now I have to get used to the new flow of the store. That sounds a lot like what we did.
Uh,
Um, Vixen says, as a comic book store, can you do new comic book day midnight releases of books? And if not, why? I mean, I think we
I
can.
don't think there's anything that says we can't. I mean, as long as it's the day, as long
Yeah.
as it's I don't know, the comic book release day. The harder thing would be getting people
To show up at
to
midnight.
show up at
You're
midnight,
right.
or um, you know, uh, we're working to the last second that we're here the day before, getting stuff ready. It would be hard to turn around and then sell them. If there was something really exciting, like Hush 2 or something like that,
Yeah.
um, I could see it being fun to have a midnight release thing. If you got enough people, it would be kind of depressing if you're just sitting there by yourself.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Sitting there at midnight, like thinking there's gonna be a line of people out the door, and then it's like, yeah, like you got the kazoo, but it just kind
the
of
balloon is like
yeah,
lost helium and it's
yeah.
just floating down.
I did hear because I don't know if I follow a guy on Twitter or he just pops up in my timeline all the time, and he owns a store, and he was planning some big midnight release for Ultimate Endgame #1, and he talked about it for days on end leading up to it, and he was getting ready for it. The store was going to open at 11 p.m. to let people in, and then they were gonna at midnight. And somebody reported him to Marvel, and they he got in trouble
Mm.
for like breaking street date or something, even though it was weird because it's like, well, but he wasn't gonna break street date. You know, people were gonna come in an hour early, and then at midnight you're gonna be able to buy the book. And he had this whole thing planned out, and he got shut down. Not his store didn't close, but I mean that event got shut down,
That's
and I
weird
don't really
because
understand why.
I know GameStop will do that. I remember going to a midnight release of showing my age, like going to the midnight release of Skyrim and World of
Hmm.
Warcraft, like Cataclysm and stuff. But they would let people in because they're like, well, you don't have to wait outside. Like,
Yeah.
a few minutes before they let people in, and they're like, okay, well, you were first in line, so stand right here, and then when it turns, you can do it and everything. But I don't think it's any problem letting people into your store so they're not standing out in the cold. They're not buying it, they're not reading it, they're not doing whatever
Yeah.
until the new comic book release day. So
The release date isn't, March 4th at 10 a.m. The release date is March 4th, right?
yeah,
So I don't see what the problem would be. Maybe they Marvel just got wind and thought that he was going to be selling these a day early. Maybe there was some miscommunication around that. I don't really know the full story, but it did sound a little bit weird because I didn't see what the problem would be. Uh, Frag Monkey, I've been to a midnight release at Infinity Flux. It was also New Year's Eve. So the release was part of the. Yeah, we released a New Year.
hmm.
Yeah, that was fun. We have those after hours parties are fun. Are those new glasses?
Hannah asked me that earlier today.
Are they new glasses?
Nope.
I didn't. They do look different now that it's been out there. I've only been reading comics seriously for the last 6 months, but Infinity Flux has been an incredibly welcoming place for a new Wednesday regular. Thank you, dude. Thank you so much for saying that. That's the goal, right?
Yeah.
Is we welcome everybody, new reader, old reader, from all walks of life, regardless of anything.
Mm.
Everybody is welcome here. Come on in. We'll answer your questions. We'll give you recommendations. We'll help you find whatever you're looking for. So thank you so much for saying that because that is what we want to do. That is the goal. That is the number one goal. Monster Killer on TikTok says, out of all Marvel and DC, who do you want to protect you?
Superman.
Superman. Yeah, I mean, yeah, Superman, right? I mean, I feel like that's an easy answer, but
What?
it's the true
It
one,
is, it's
Superman.
the
Yeah,
only right
yeah,
answer.
it's the answer. Comic Con, I played Quidditch Pong.
At a Harry Potter midnight party. I
Oh,
think I went to the midnight release of Deathly Hallows, the book.
oh, okay.
Um,
I don't know that I've ever been to a midnight release of anything other than a movie.
uh, I went to the release of Skyrim, also showing how old I am, which didn't
Yeah.
seem like that old until like now. A couple of games back when that was kind of fun to go to the new releases of games before you could get everything digitally and all
Yeah.
that.
Lotor's Empire says, Andy, I was trying to get a commission from you, and now I'm broke again.
Well, keep going.
Don't you have all those Don't you do those pro bono?
Yeah, with a small donation, you can get them. Yeah. I'll be
He
doing.
told me he never turns anybody away, so if they don't have money, he'll do them for free, full color, everything.
It's kind of true that I don't want to turn anyone away. Because I love doing commissions. That's what I hope in Chicago I'm going to be doing a lot
Yeah,
of.
but no, that's part of your livelihood. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Uh,
Big
so,
T, happy new comic book day.
yep. But yeah, I'd love to do a commission. I've been doing completely changing the way I do stuff, or not changing it, but like doing something different. And I've been watercoloring Pokemon
Okay.
on sketch cards because that's just something I've never really done is watercolor, and that's been really fun. I thought about like having like a sleeve and like putting them on the sleeve and selling them that way, but that's been really fun.
Easy Reader says I went to the midnight release of the Avengers when it first came out because I couldn't wait. Yeah, same. The theater right down the street here. Yeah, when it came out in
I think
2012,
I went to the midnight release of Avengers.
dude,
Um,
it was packed too. I mean, it was. I think we sat in the front row,
wow.
and yeah, it was
Do you remember
completely
the first
packed.
midnight release of anything you went to?
Episode one, Star Wars Episode One.
Okay, mine
Yeah.
was Star Wars Episode 3.
Okay.
I went to the midnight release of that in whatever 2005.
Yeah, Episode One. Back in 1999, my friend Travis drove to Knoxville and spent like 8 hours standing in line for tickets, and that was a
Yeah.
week before. And then the midnight show sold out, but he was able to get tickets for the 12:30 show, which was the second show that night. And then so he got those. It took him all day, and then that's when you had to actually go get tickets. And then we went to Knoxville, and we got to the theater like an hour and a half early, and of course it was packed, and we just got in the line for our theater, and we just sat down, and even though it was crowded and chaotic, like everybody was there having a a good time, everybody was there
Yeah.
for the same reason.
The
And
energy I
oh
know
yeah,
for episode 3 was so cool because I mean, people are dressed up. There's people with lightsabers fighting in the front of the
yeah,
theater.
yeah,
You almost didn't care that people were talking during the movie because you know they weren't distracted. They were so into it that they're yelling and
yeah,
they're into the story. And it's like, well, that's better. They're not talking on their phone. They're like,
yeah.
they're talking to General Grievous up there.
Yeah, Comic Con says, I wonder what the first ever midnight release was. Wasn't it episode
I
one?
feel like episode 1 might have been the first
I
one.
mean, I can see there maybe have. I think that, or let me rephrase and say I do think it was Star Wars Episode One that started the trend. I'm not going to say
Yeah,
that maybe
yeah.
there wasn't
I
another
mean, there could have been
movie.
some movie in the 40s that
Yeah, I mean
they
there's probably something before that hey, we're doing a special midnight thing. But when Star Wars Episode One did the midnight thing, I think that's when movie studios and theater owners were like, "Hey, wait a minute, maybe we got something here. Maybe we could do this more often." And then
yeah.
now, I mean, you can go
Well,
pretty
now you
much
go on
whenever.
Thursday before it
I know it's
releases.
like Black Friday where it's backed up so much that now opening night is Friday, but no, it's actually really Thursday and sometimes even Wednesday.
Yeah, I don't. Is there any movie that doesn't come out on Thursday? I don't.
I don't know. I mean, yeah, Vixen says I'll do the midnight release of Avengers Doomsday. Not I'm gonna go Thursday night,
Yeah,
whatever whatever time. We'll have to keep an eye out for tickets. Of course, that's further down the road.
yeah.
But
I mean, we go to most for premieres of like Marvel and DC
yeah,
movies. Spider Man will do that.
yeah, oh yeah, yeah. We'll definitely do Spider Man.
The last Spider Man movie was fun because we saw it in IMAX and it was like it was a really crowded
Yeah.
theater and that was fun because people are really into it. But if we're talking about a comic that had a midnight release, I don't know. I wonder if anywhere sold like Death of Superman at midnight.
Oh, probably. Yeah, because that was a big deal. I wonder if there was there may have been a midnight release like when Youngblood #1 came out, launching Image. Maybe
Yeah.
like a Golden Apple in California maybe did that or something. I'm not sure, but we should do that. We should do midnight releases.
Cool. You can work them and I'm gonna be in bed. Uh so your concept was from court and you wanted to know my prices. Yeah, just shoot me a message on like Instagram or wherever and we can work something out. It's usually easy to do it that way.
Saw X-Men 2 at midnight. Awesome. Nightcrawler in the Oval Office blew my
That
mind.
was a
That was
great
a great
opening
sequence. Yeah,
scene.
I think Star Wars Special Edition did midnight.
So that
Okay.
would be pre episode
Sure.
one.
Yeah. Okay.
I didn't see those at midnight. I saw actually I don't think I saw all three. I think I saw A New Hope and Return the Jedi, and I think I'm missing Empire in theaters. And my brother saw it, and I was really
hmm
jealous that I didn't get to see all of them.
Yeah. So Arrow says I thought midnight stuff started in the late '80s. I could be wrong. I don't know for sure. I don't remember because I was only about 10 years old, but I could see maybe 1989 Batman maybe had a midnight
Mm,
release. I don't remember. I was young. I saw it, in a crowded theater, but not at midnight. So maybe Batman had them. I don't because Batmania 1989 in the summer of 1989. I still have never seen anything like it. So that could have been it. Oh yeah, some months ago. Here, I'll be right back. I'll chat GPT it. Yeah, find out. I guess we could Google it. I mean, we have a. If only we had some way to look up any information that we wanted to
I
ever.
love not knowing things. Be like, oh, I wonder if it was this. Oh, I wonder this.
Yeah,
Eventually, we can get to an answer.
I know
Yeah,
I
there
saw.
was. I mean, there's probably album releases in the
Oh yeah,
before,
yeah.
things like that.
Oh, and I do remember doing a midnight release for the Star Wars Episode One toys, the action
Oh my gosh,
figures.
that was so
Yeah,
great.
my friend Travis and I also went to Knoxville to Toys R Us, and it was before the movie came out, I
Yeah,
believe.
yeah.
And yeah, they had a big midnight release for the action figures, and there was a big long line of people. Oh
I don't.
man, those were the
If you,
days. Kids
want to.
today don't know.
I don't want to be that guy who's like, if you weren't there, but the excitement around episode one and Toys R Us. I remember right when you walked in the door, the entire like length of the store was nothing but red and black. It
Yeah,
was all the Darth Maul face, and it was it was everything from
It said it was Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire in 2000. There's no way.
no.
Because Star Wars Episode 1 was
Also, Goblet
definitely.
of Fire didn't come out in 2000
Isn't it
because
the fourth one?
that's the fourth one, and Sorcerer's Stone came out in 98.
Okay.
That would be they did, and 98 and 99 were Sorcerer's Stone and Goblet of Fire, I believe, and then Prisoner of Azkaban wasn't until a little bit after that.
So according to Google, it was a movie in 1970 called El Topo. The phenomenon, while early, no. Okay, well, El Topo was followed by other midnight cult classics like Pink Flamingos and most notably the Rocky Horror Picture Show, which I could absolutely see that being true too. Okay.
Yeah, but that was like I don't know if that was on release. I think that was maybe like an event after the fact.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I just feel like, well, there's a difference between what was the first one ever and then what started this whole thing. And I feel like Star Wars Episode 1 is the one that started the fad. Not
It's
that it was
kind
the
of
first one,
that
but.
like discussion about like who was the first superhero. It's
Oh,
like,
right, yeah.
well, you can go way back and find superhero. Even like Greek myths had basically superheroes, but we consider Superman as when you say superhero, what
Yeah.
you think
Yeah.
of. So there's like there's like the letter of the law, and then there's the spirit of it, which I would say is probably episode one that started the phenomenon.
Yeah.
I think that started a lot of things. I know originally like 1977, 78 holiday season for Star Wars was kind of the birth of modern movie merchandising.
Hmm.
Um, so I think that started there. But I think when you're talking about midnight releases and like cinematic experiences and stuff, that has to be episode one.
Yeah, I feel because I mean, at least up to that point, I had never even considered going to a movie at midnight. And when we were talking about it, I was like, "Well, we're really going to see this." I mean, I was young. I was 20 years old, I think, but I was still like, "We're going to go see a movie at midnight? That's crazy." But and then seeing how many people were there, I just feel like that was for me anyway. I guess that was the biggest one.
There's
But
a great documentary called Star Wait. It's a documentary about the people waiting in line to see Star Wars.
the original,
No, I think it's for episode one. I think it's for episode one, not episode two. Um, but it's people waiting in line to see it, and it's like interviewing. It's like people outside of the Chinese theater,
yeah.
and they're like building lightsabers out there, and they're like, how does the line work, and different levels of spoilers. So they would have tags that were different color lightsabers. If it was green, it meant like you can talk about all the spoilers you want that you read online, or if
Okay.
it was red, you didn't want to hear any.
Nice.
And it's a documentary about that. It's really good. I owned it on DVD because I just loved
Oh, I
it.
gotta try to. I love that
Um,
kind of stuff.
and there's characters like like you learn the different people in line, kind of what their history with the movie is
Oh,
and
that's
everything. It's
awesome.
really, really good.
That's kind of stuff is fun because it's like we're all there for a common goal, and of course that was before, like the internet. Like the internet was there, but it was before the internet. It was before social media. It was before, all spoilers, and it was
Like
before.
forums would have been
Yeah.
the
Oh
way you
man.
find out that kind of
That's
stuff.
back when like people used to go and enjoy things instead of like getting mad about stuff from just a trailer. But
Like, didn't Superman start off just a freakishly strong human? Kinda, and I really like that version of Superman. I mean, he couldn't fly. Most of Superman's lore came from the radio show,
yeah,
um,
or the comic
or
strips.
the comic strips. But
Yeah.
original Superman can leap tall buildings. He can't fly. He can run as fast as a locomotive.
Yeah.
He bullets fly off of him. You have a
Well,
lot of that, but he wasn't this like god tier
yeah. Oh,
character.
yeah. And it's funny because you hear like all the haters saying like like, oh well, thank goodness that Superman's going into the public domain in a few years so that we can get a good Superman. It's like, do you realize how limited what the Superman going into public domain is? It's not anything like what you're thinking. Yeah, it's that version that you said.
Mhm.
He can't fly. He's strong but not like planet moving strong, and that I mean,
Yeah, kryptonite's not a
yeah,
thing. I mean, I don't even think some of the characters don't come around till
yeah, right,
later.
right,
Although I do really like that Superman. That's for me. That's Fleischer
yeah,
Superman.
yeah,
I watched those cartoons obsessively when
hmm
I was little, and I love the limitations of Superman. Like he could punch a rock back to you,
yeah.
but he would like spin and drill through stuff and everything. But I don't know. It felt like he can get knocked around too, and
Yeah.
that was really fun. And I kind of like now that's kind of considered like before he really learned all of his powers. It's like in continuity, that's kind of when
Yeah.
he was starting out.
And I've watched an interview with John Byrne when I think he was on 60 Minutes back in 1986 when he was relaunching. It was post Crisis. He was doing Man of Steel.
Mhm.
Relaunching Superman, and he had said something like, "Yeah, we kind of felt that Superman was too powerful. He had all kinds of crazy powers, and he was moving planets and that kind of thing. And he's like, we felt like we needed to scale that down."
Well, 60s Superman was when every issue he had a new power.
Yeah. Right.
50s,
Right.
60s,
Yeah.
and I feel like that was their way of being like, instead of explaining why he can't do these things anymore, let's just like put all that to the side.
Yeah.
I'll always go back to Superman can shoot a tiny little Superman out of his hand,
That was
which I
crazy.
love,
Yeah.
but is very weird. Also, they've kind of dropped the thing about he's hyper intelligent.
Yeah.
Like he's smart, but he's not any smarter than a well learned
I
person.
want to say that there was a thing, and I might be making this up, so don't quite quote me, but I want to say in the 50s there was one issue or something where his super hearing was so super he could hear your thoughts,
Yeah,
which makes no sense, right? But I mean, they didn't care back then.
yeah, it was for kids.
This is a good question. What is the scariest version of your favorite superhero? Like one of Spider-Man where he's entirely just a bunch of spiders. Spiders, man.
Spider's Man. I
Um,
do love that one. That one's really
I
cool.
mean, it might be. What was that? There was a mini series just a few years ago, like Shadow. It was a Spider-Man mini series. It was Shadow something,
Oh yeah, yeah.
and Peter like mutated into a big scary spider, and that was pretty scary.
Yeah. So I would, my favorite character is Aquaman, and so the scary version of Aquaman is probably the Flashpoint Aquaman, who is
Okay,
like an
yeah.
emperor. Uh, yeah, Spider Shadow.
Spider Shadow, yeah.
Um.
What's up, Bear? Bear works at a comic shop, and he is a wealth of knowledge.
Oh.
Bear knows a lot. Bear helps me when I have brain farts on my own TikTok lives. He helps me answer questions a lot. I'll tell you one of my scariest versions. When I was a kid, I was scared of the drunk mean Superman from Superman 3.
Oh,
I'm not
Time Clock
joking.
Shadow Superman.
Yeah, he was scary when I was a kid because I was like, "Oh my gosh, like who's gonna stop him?
Yeah.
If he goes nuts, who's?" And then when he's fighting Clark Kent in the junkyard, and he throws Clark Kent in the trash thing and like crushes it, like as a kid, that was trippy for me.
There was a question up there about why does the Joker look like that? If
Oh,
you mean in general
and
the Joker, that's because of Conrad Veidt, I think it's you say, or Veidt, from The Man Who Laughs. It was a movie, I think a silent movie. Yeah, 1928.
I think he was talking about Batman in the new issue today.
Oh, I'm just
I
going
don't
all the way
know.
back. Well, let's talk about that by going all the way back to
Yeah,
1928.
yeah, I was talking about today's issue.
Nope, I want to talk about this
Yeah.
thing from 1928.
I have a joke with my friends where I have to say, when they ask me a question, I'm like, when they ask me a question about comic books, I'd say, oh, that's an interesting question, but to really understand it, we need to go back to 1938 with the first appearance of Superman, and give him a whole. But yeah, we don't know. We don't know why he looks like that. I thought maybe we would see something in DCKO number 5,
Hmm.
but no, I don't know. Maybe
There
we'll find
was,
out later.
I guess it doesn't spoil this issue of DCKO. It's the previous issue where Joker was transformed into like a parademon Joker.
Hmm
But I don't think that's. I think most of the things now that is
Could
a
it be from
very big
Could it
possibility.
be from Hush 2? Who knows? Who knows anything when it
So,
comes to Hush 2?
so I know that Matt Fraction said like there was that his book was specifically avoiding certain things
Yeah.
because it was going to feel the ramifications of things that happened in Hush 2. I do wonder if it's been delayed long enough that he was like, I can't really push this off anymore. Especially if, like, this issue, I mean, I believe the last issue of Hush 2 was supposed to be out well by now, and there were just, he couldn't keep vamping long enough.
But how does that explain how he was able to be in DCKO? Because he was fine in DCKO
Does KO happen after this? After
after this issue
at
of
this
Batman.
run of this, I guess, story arc of Batman or something.
It doesn't really say one way or the other. I mean, I guess it could be either one because it's not like Batman number 7 references KO at all.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's just a like, it happened at one point,
Yeah.
whatever. But I do think they're gonna explain why he looks like that. I think there is a good chance it's because of Hush 2, because there was gonna be some things that come out of Hush 2 that were gonna play into the main Batman run, and probably just couldn't they couldn't push it off any further.
Yeah, and Hush 2 technically is canon, right? Because the Red Hood series that got canceled on the same day it came out, it referenced things from Hush 2. The reason that Jason was in New Orleans in the Red Hood series is because of the falling out he had with Batman in Hush 2. So technically it's, although I guess you could say Hush 2 is not canon even though it's referenced in that Red Hood series because that thing got canceled too. So it's
So is
like,
that
well,
not? Yeah, I guess that's not canon.
I guess I don't know, but just because it's next level makes you think it's after KO. But yeah, it's no, I don't know. I mean, that's a good
I
question.
mean, I would say most of the next level books are intended to be after
Yes.
KO. Like that's kind of the line. They're like, okay, these all are after this, and I don't think we've read any that
Well, I read so last night. I read Flash number 31 and 32, and Wonder Woman 31, which come out in the next few weeks. I don't remember which one, but one of those does briefly, slightly mention KO.
okay.
So those definitely come out. I think it was Flash, maybe just mentioned something about. Uh, oh, uh, oh no, it was Wonder Woman because they mentioned the Omega tournament.
Yeah.
Oh, I know what it was. It was in Wonder Woman 31. This is not a spoiler, but it's the start of the Wonder War. Lex has the Godkiller sword, and he says, "I've been admiring this since I saw it in the Omega tournament." That's what it
Oh,
was.
that's
Yeah,
cool.
that was cool. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Not a spoiler. That's at the beginning. It doesn't spoil the story. How long do you think Clark will be gone? I don't know. They said on the retailer call that we were on just a week or two. I think it was last week. They said that they don't want it to be as long as Death of Superman. Like when back in '92 when he was gone for like a year. They said they didn't want it to be that long, so that it's going to be just a little while in order to tell this Reign of the Superboy story that they want to tell. And they did say that those super books, that Reign of the Superman story, will eventually come together. And I think after that he'll come back. So they didn't. They said they didn't want it to overstay its welcome or anything like that.
Yeah, I do think it's kind of like whereas Death of Superman originally was kind of a gimmick.
Yeah.
I don't think this is a gimmick. I think this is more for the story
Yeah.
and to explore some things that you couldn't explore, like Superboy Prime being in the main Superman book if Superman was still there. So I think this is just like a hey, for a fun story arc for each of these books, we're gonna take him off the table and we can play around with that idea,
Yeah.
and then we'll bring him back.
I
They're not
mean,
promising like they're not doing the Peter Parker Superior Spider-Man. We're like, and he's gone for good.
oh yeah, no,
They're not doing
no,
that.
he's for sure coming back. We just don't know when or how. Yeah, I was thinking. You said I was thinking it may be Action 1100 since that's the end of the year. I don't know if it'll even be that long. Will Action 1100 be at the end? I thought we were already on Action 1090 something, right?
I'm not
1096.
sure what the last issue that
Yeah.
came out was.
Although I guess it'll be near the end of the year. If we're on 1096 now, there's 4 more issues, which is 4 months. We're already in March, so
Yeah, August or September. I mean, that's definitely a possibility.
yeah. Some of the scariest versions of villains could very well come from the absolute universe. I mean, Joker is pretty darn scary. Bane is pretty darn scary. Scarecrow that's coming up. Scott Snyder released a picture of him. He looks pretty terrifying.
Parasite this week in
Parasite
Absolute
was
Superman is
yeah.
pretty scary.
Mr. Freeze was creepy looking.
Even Croc, like even though Croc's, I don't want to say he's a necessarily a villain in
Yeah.
this. That way his jaw opens all the way down
Yeah.
is pretty
His entire
crazy.
body unfolds. Yeah. Do we know what happened to Barry at the end? No. That's one of the many question marks for me
He
anyway.
does kind of act like it's not like he got zapped somewhere because he's like, oh, good thing I had a backup.
Yeah.
And that's like the only. So it doesn't look like it hurt him or did anything,
Yeah.
but I'll be interested to see where that story unfolds because I don't. That's kind of a like a big question mark. Like, what was that?
Yeah.
Who is that?
What is popular at your store? Is there something that you might think is more niche but actually does very well there? Number one, indie books right now.
I think that's across the space though.
Yeah.
I do know that there's like certain stores where certain things do better. Just I don't know, just the collectively of the community is more into something. I don't know necessarily what something like weird like what does well here is kind of what you can expect.
Matt and Indy pretty popular at their store. We
Well,
go fast. Yeah, I don't know because what's funny is we sell so much stuff here, but I spend almost all my time over where the comics are. And every now and then I'll walk to the other parts of the store and I'm like, whoa, look at all this other stuff that I never come look at. This is awesome. So I'm not really sure. I mean, magic cards, maybe? I
yeah.
mean, we have like when there's a big like Magic the Gathering release, we have people waiting outside the store, when we open. So I'm not really sure like what the uh
I what I do think is interesting. So in the back of our store is kind of our shipping department, where those those people work. I'm friends with all of
the
them.
backroom
The
people.
backroom people,
Yeah.
they're like the mole people. Um, but I'm always interested because there's kind of a shelf of like these are outgoing things that need to be packaged up. I'm always interested to walk by and be like, oh, that's sold. That's
Yeah.
interesting. Recently we got a big collection of some
The art.
SH Figure Arts,
Oh yeah, the Dragon
Dragon
Ball
Ball
Z.
Z
Yeah.
figures. We sold out of those very fast, and they
Yeah.
were not cheap. I think, I think I just got one of them. But that's always cool. And there's like weird big stuff. I'm like, oh wow, like certain board games that I'm like,
Mhm.
there's like a billion pieces to them. Um, but yeah, there's some stuff that comes in and it does not stay long, and I never even see it.
I came into the store one time just to get a comic, and Megan told me I should look around, and I ended up finding a Darth Nihilus action figure, which I always wanted as a kid. Blew my mind. That's awesome. Happy to be able to, spark those childhood memories.
We have a customer that has a Darth Nihilus tattoo, and it's really cool. And I saw him at Kava the other day, and I wanted to be like, "Hey, you shop at the store, and I like your tattoo." I did, but it's very cool.
You wanted to pop out from behind a bush and say, "Ah, I've been following you."
But one Darth Nihilus, awesome. Kotor 2, one of
Mm.
some of the best designs in that game, even though the ending is a little flat. But oh yeah, I really like your tattoo, and I saw you at Kava the other day.
Small
That's
world.
not awkward at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was eating there, and I looked over and I saw you eating there. And I wasn't creeping.
And then Andy saw you get in your car, and then Andy saw you drive home, and then Andy
Yeah.
saw you walk into your front door and check your mail. We first started shopping at Flux for board games. I didn't get back into comics until a couple years later. Yeah, board games do pretty well here.
Yeah, of course, like some of the biggest lines we see is for card releases. Just recently we had the Magic X Ninja Turtles. We had there's a simultaneous One Piece and Pokemon release, which they should do their planning better when they're deciding on releases because two big things in one day is a
Yeah.
lot of people. Um, yeah, if you want to talk about what is a huge seller, Pokemon just in general, but it doesn't stay long. We sell out of Pokemon almost instantaneously.
Yeah, it's funny because I know nothing about any of the card side. I don't know that side of the store. I don't know any of that kind of stuff, and I didn't even know there was a release for one thing. And we were here, store was closing down. We were doing a video, and I went over, to the card side, and one of the guys working over there was like exhausted,
Hmm.
and I'm like, what, everything okay? He's like, "Ugh, we had a big release today, and it's been busy." And I was like, oh wow, I didn't even know that's a whole side of
Hmm.
nerddom that I don't have any knowledge of. Just add a Mandalore the Ultimate to it, getting it colored next week. You could get a tattoo.
That's awesome. I could get a
Oh,
tattoo.
you could get a Star Wars some kind of tattoo.
I don't. I have a whole thing about tattoos. I think they're really cool. But I think I would, no matter what, I would like overly critique it when I looked at it,
Yeah.
and I couldn't live with that.
I
But
know because like what if it messes up, you're stuck. Well, I guess you could do laser removal or whatever, but it's you get one chance. You get one chance to make it right, and if the tattoo artist messes up,
uh,
that's I'm not a risk taker, so that's what scares me about it. Star Wars tramp stamp.
I mean, there's a lot of Star Wars logos that really lend themselves to that, especially
Yeah.
like if you did like the Rebel logo with some little like leaves coming off the
Yeah.
side of it. Um,
You just have like juicy, but in a Star Wars font or something like that. I'm scribbled all over. Comic Con says.
yeah, I
Yeah.
love tattoos. Despite one of my jobs for a little while was a laser tattoo removal,
Really?
yeah,
Dang.
person.
I didn't know that.
I did that. But I really like tattoos. I watch videos about tattoo and tattoo critiques and
Mm.
stuff. I think that's really interesting.
Big T says, "What did y'all think of the new Lanterns trailer? I thought it was interesting. You haven't seen it
I have
yet,
not
right?
seen it yet.
What have you been doing all day?
Nothing.
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 I thought it was interesting. It's not what I think of when I first think of Green Lantern, but I still thought it looked really cool. I thought it was a cool looking story. There's no like lantern effects. There's no
Mhm.
constructs. We do see a brief shot of the suit, which again isn't what I think of when I think of Green Lantern. But I don't know. I'm a humongous Kyle Chandler fan. So I'll watch anything he's in. So I'm already sold just
Like
based
the
on
bath.
that. Huh?
Like the bath.
The bath.
I'll watch him in anything.
Yeah,
Like the
even I'll
bathtub.
I'll watch him in the bath. Sure, I'll watch him eat breakfast. And then is it Aaron Pierre that's playing John Stewart?
I
I like
think that's
that
him.
guy too.
He's
Um,
very John Stewart. Like
yeah,
he's got that demeanor.
so yeah, I'm sold just based on the characters and the cast. So whatever the story ends
Is
up
there
being,
is there any more reference to a squirrel Green Lantern?
yes,
Okay, I heard there's something about that.
it's quick, but yeah, there is a reference to Chip. Yeah,
Do we know it's Chip or is it
no, it's
or is
not. He's
it
not named.
or is it Bajir?
He just says there's a lantern that's a squirrel.
That's cool.
That's
I'm
pretty
I'm
much.
okay with that.
Yeah.
I'll watch it tonight. I am looking forward to it. Like I'll definitely watch it. Um, and I'm fine with them taking a different take on it. I also get for a TV show and a completely space show would be very expensive and hard to do.
Yeah. And you never know, it might be one of those things where this you have to tell this story in order to get to this goal,
Yeah.
which then goes crazy from there.
I
So
mean, if Kilowog shows up, I will be so happy. If there's a big guy in like a trench coat and a hat, kind of
yeah.
like the thing,
I don't
and
think we're gonna
comes
get
up.
that. I don't there is one thing that Hal Jordan says at the end that didn't make sense. He
He
said
said, "You look like a big pig guy."
he says that well John Stewart asked him, he's like, do you ever talk to any of the other lanterns? And he says, I'm the only human and the rest are aliens. Meaning like implying no I don't, but like Guy Gardner is there, right?
Yeah.
So and Hal Jordan absolutely talks to the other lanterns. So that was the only thing I was like, wait a minute, that doesn't sound right. Hal Jordan talks to the lanterns all the time. But Green Lantern Midnight Release Party, I don't know where I got that idea. Yeah, that comes out in August, right? So we could all,
Does it come out in August? I
you
remember
know,
initially they were talking about it was like early in the year, so that's
yeah, I don't know why. I don't know if it was delayed or if they just kept pushing it off. Like maybe, because Supergirl's going to come out first, and maybe they just want Supergirl to have room to breathe,
have it.
and then I don't know. I don't think it's been delayed. I think they just weren't sure when they wanted to
Well,
put it
yeah,
out
they. I
there.
mean, they. It's not like they had a release date and they changed it.
Yeah,
They gave it like a time frame, and the time frame
yeah.
shifted. But I think that's okay.
August 19th, your birthday. I hope they pick that day. Mine's only a couple days after that, so yeah.
You're
Hopefully,
probably brothers.
actually, no. I want it to be like like I want it as soon as possible. So I hope it's August 1st if it's gonna be in August.
Yeah, but I am. That's really cool. I'm really excited about that. Do we know how many episodes it is? Did they say? I'm guessing it's probably like 8.
Probably. I
Um,
just hope it's not like 8 30-minute episodes. Like, give me some meat.
although Night of the Seven Kingdoms, that
Yeah.
just was like each
Those are
episode's
only
like
half hour.
yeah, those
Yeah.
are only half hour, and I wish they were longer, but they get a lot done in those,
Yeah.
and it does feel good. Um,
And I watched that first episode, and it just didn't quite get its hooks in me. So I'm glad, I'm actually glad it wasn't longer because I was like,
you gotta continue with it. It's
I'm
really
ready. I'm
good.
ready to be done with this. I heard like episode 3 was really really good.
The episode before the last is, I mean, people are saying like this is the best Game of Thrones related episode of anything ever,
I just don't see it after only watching the first episode. I just don't get that. But I guess I do have
you
to keep
gotta keep
going.
going because
Okay.
it's really good.
Okay.
And I didn't finish Game of Thrones, so
Well, that ending was so bad. No, nobody should have. I just started Game of Thrones for the first time. Okay. Well, it's a great 6 seasons out of 8. I'll tell you that much.
yeah, I never. I think I made it like 5 or 6 seasons in.
I will say I have watched the entire series of Game of Thrones twice, and I much more enjoyed it the second time
Kind of knowing where
because
you're
I
going.
understood what was going on.
Oh,
Yeah, the first time around I was like, "Who's that?" and what house, and what are they doing? But the second time I was like, "Oh yeah, and I knew all the politics and everything."
yeah, and
So
the everyone is named basically the same thing.
yeah, yeah, Tyrion and Tywin and yeah, um, yeah. I guess I just actually finished last night. I've been watching Mayor of Kingstown. I started watching it when it first came on, and I finished season 4 last night, and that's some of the best TV I've seen in a while. Like that season 4 was crazy. It's on Paramount Plus. Jeremy Renner is the
Mm.
star of that. It's a really good like just sort of like a crime drama kind of thing. That was a really good season.
I'm just watching stuff. We watched the latest season of Traders, and
Oh yeah, I've heard.
I gotta watch stuff that like I don't have to think about too much.
Yeah, one of my favorite shows is The Rookie with Nathan Fillion. I freaking love that show.
So the rookie is crossing over with um, Dropout. The
I think that's the episode that's available now. I think it was maybe on last night or the night before, and I don't have any idea what that is.
that's actually what I watched last night. Is Dropout is like a channel and I love it.
It's a channel.
It's a streaming service, but it's like the most like ethical streams. The people who are on it, they pay everyone who auditions, they get paid. They like are super. They're a great company,
Huh.
and so people are like, I'm fine paying for this. They've got all original programming, no ads. But you've probably seen some of their stuff. They put on like TikTok and stuff. They have a bunch of shows. Game Changer is a big one. Make Some Noise. Very important people. It's great.
Hmm.
But yeah, that they're crossing over with that, and it has the people from that in it. It's like, oh, well, that's going to be the one episode of The Rookie I
Yeah,
watch.
it's really fun. Like I like all the characters, and I'm interested in all the storylines and all that stuff.
Yeah, give Night of the Seven Kingdoms another chance. It's great.
Okay.
It really is. Okay, so I wasn't a Game of Thrones hater, but I was just like, this is too much.
Yeah.
Like when it was going, I was like, I can't keep up with this. And I love overly dense things. That's why I read comics. But that one was hard for me to get behind. I like House of Dragons because it's a little bit smaller of a cast. Um, but
I
this
never watched
one,
that either.
but this one is like there's a main character, and the selling point of it, I feel like, is in the Game of Thrones world where everyone is terrible. Here's one guy who's actually good. And what does one good guy? How does he like exist in
You
this
talking about
world?
Night of the Seven Kingdoms?
Yeah.
Okay.
So like Dunk and how he was raised and everything and how he believes a knight should be is really great. Plus, all I'm talking about the best episode, first person jousting, and you see how horrifying that is
Okay.
when things get lodged in your helmet and you're
Yeah.
still watching out of is very very good.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I guess when I was watching it, I'm used to the big, epic, grandiose Game of Thrones, and then this show, I was like, it's just a guy. How am I supposed to get excited about one guy? It's set years before the original Game of Thrones. It's not like he's gonna go right into King's Landing, and I was like,
Well,
it's
you'll
just a
have to see
guy.
where it ends, and
Okay.
if you don't know the story of Dunk and Egg, there's more to some of the characters than you realize.
Okay. All right.
Um,
You guys have twisted my arm. I'm gonna watch it.
Brooklyn Nine-Nine fans, that's my comfort show.
I-
I've watched a little bit of Brooklyn
I've only
Nine-Nine.
ever seen clips.
Uh,
Like when the guys are lining up and they start singing Backstreet Boys. I've seen that clip so many times. It's hilarious.
my comfort shows are like The Office and Parks and Rec.
Yeah.
I can turn those on and I know every word to them, and I say the jokes in my head and still laugh and stuff.
Yeah, I started a Parks and Rec rewatch just recently.
It's just delightful. It's so much fun.
All right, guys. I guess we're going to call it a night there. We've got a
It's
couple.
light.
We got a couple. Yeah, right. We got a couple of videos we got to upload. We for those who weren't here at the beginning, we got a couple. Marvel sent us a couple of copies of the Daredevil blind bag, so we recorded an extra video just talking about this. It's not long, but just kind of showing the bag and showing the covers that we got. We did. It's not a preview video. We didn't show any of the interiors. We're not allowed to do that yet. But so we have an extra video that's going to be posted here in just a little bit in addition to our comics to pre-order in a flash video that we post every Wednesday as well. And again, for those folks who said earlier that it's hard keeping up with FOC dates and stuff, be sure to check out our Friday videos because like I said, we go over dozens of different comics that are up for FOC every single weekend. We tell you what the stories are about. We show you the variant covers, all that kind of stuff. So that might, I know we've gotten some good feedback before about from people who say they wait for that show to know what to pre-order because
Yeah.
we don't go over every single book, but we do go over like the biggest ones we can think of. And
Yeah, we do our best to find the ones. We won't like if a book's like really far into it, we may just show the cover and not go in depth because
yeah,
you know you, it may be confusing if you're not already reading it. But for
yeah.
definitely number ones and stuff that people are really talking about, we'll go more in depth about those and what we think
Yeah.
and what we're excited for and all that.
Yeah, so check out that video. If and even if you don't have to order from us to watch the video. Yeah, just you can watch it and then know what to go to your own shop with. We don't care if you order from us or not. We just want to get the information out there. That's the most important thing to us is just educating you, on what's coming.
I went on our website on my phone just now to our ordering things because after we talked about the thing, I was like, I do need to order that Mad DC crossover
Oh
book.
yeah.
So I went on there just to make sure. I was like, I'll do this before I forget.
Yeah, let me go ahead and say it too. Like for any fans of like Mad Magazine, on FOC this weekend is a one shot called Mad About DC, and it's a Mad parody of DC Comics, and there's a bunch of different little parody stories in there.
Big
And,
creators though.
yeah, lots of big creators. I'm not the biggest Mad Magazine fan, so when I first heard about it, I was like, that's not for me. But we were on a retailer call with DC last week, and they told us about some of the stories that are in it that are not in the solicitation. They showed us some of the interior artwork, and you guys, there is some hilarious stuff in that book. So that's definitely one to watch for, and especially when I feel like not a lot of people are going to pre-order because maybe not everybody loves just like slapstick comedy. But when they hear about some of the stories that are in it, especially one,
Yeah.
I feel like people are going. That's going to be like a sleeper. It's like, oh my gosh, there's that story in it.
Yeah.
Even though it's a slapstick comedy thing, I want to read that story,
Yeah.
and I feel like so I definitely would recommend pre-ordering that. It's
Kind of a
hilarious.
completionist, or
Yeah.
you're really enjoying something and you find out, hey, there's a little nugget
There's
of
a
that
little
over
piece,
here.
yeah. Oh my gosh, it's so funny. There's so many funny things in that book. What kind of stuff is in modern Mad magazines? I haven't read that since high school. I don't know. I mean, like I said, I'm not the biggest fan, so I don't really look at them.
It is
But
a lot of the same stuff. I think they still, have a spy versus spy. There's parodies
yeah,
and things. It's not that different. It's just more updated. But this one I think is pretty much going to be all comics and
yeah, it's all this one's it's all DC parodies of different DC stories. I wish I could tell you what it is. There's one that every time I even think about it, it makes me laugh because it's so ridiculous in a good way. So yeah, definitely be on the lookout for that Mad About DC book. I'm definitely pre-ordering that one. But yeah, we're gonna get these two videos uploaded and head on to the house. But thank you guys so much on YouTube, on TikTok. Sorry that we're still having trouble with StreamYard. We'll get that worked out, and then we can have all the bells and whistles that we normally do. But yeah, thanks for hanging out with us. You're spending your new comic book day evening with us. Check out our videos that we're about to post in a few minutes, and then the ones on Friday, of course, next Monday. There's new comics to preview, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, thanks for hanging out, and we will see you guys again really soon. I'm gonna wave to both of you guys. Bye bye.
I'm going to wave to none of you.
To none.